What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are doing a cheap versus expensive Temu challenge. Now, I've been on the app, I've had a good look, as I'm sure you all have, and we've seen a few things on there. Now, my favourite thing to do at the moment is top water fishing. So what I figured I'd do, I'd get a expensive, in quotation marks, top water lure and a cheap top water lure. So this is what I ended up with. I ended up with these, which are made by a company called True Send. They're prop based, so they're similar to like a whopper plopper. To be honest, I thought there was only one of these, that's why I thought it was expensive, and it was 19 quid, £18.98. So for 3 lures, actually that's still very cheap, but I thought it was for one, and it was the most expensive one I could find on there. So yeah, that's what we ended up with, the expensive lure. And for the cheap lure, and it is really cheap, we've got this, which is a frog type, sort of buzz baity type thing, which was 89 pence. Now, so you can see there's a big difference between the two, A, in what they are and how they work, and B, in the price. So the idea is now we're going to go on the river, see if we can catch a pike and see which performs best, the expensive or the cheap. Okay, we're going to start with the expensive lure. It's got these little propellers that actually fold back, so you can sort of push them in and clip them in when the lure's in storage, and then you sort of pull them out to fish with. So we'll start with this one, see how we get on. Followed by something then, don't know what it was. I think it's a perch. Yes! Hell yeah. Right, don't come off, don't come off, don't come off. Where's my net? Oh, it's not bad fish actually. Don't come off. Ah. It looks fairly well hooked. Yeah! Woohoo! Okay, that took a little bit longer than I expected, but eventually I got one. Actually, not a bad Bill Jack, especially on a cheap top water. Well, that's the expensive top water ticked off. I'm gonna get this fish back, and then I'm gonna try and get one on that really cheap little frog. Okay, this fish is well ready to go back. Super charged up. Just gonna drop the net. And away it goes. Okay, well, the prop bait has been taken off, and now I'm gone on to this. I've got to be honest, I'm not feeling confident. It's a soft plastic frog with a sort of buzz baity thing, and then I'll show you it. It's like a weedless hook set up with a wire guard. I mean, I'd be amazed, honestly. But I've only got about half hour left. We've had one on the prop bait, so I would like to try and get one on both, and then we can at least sort of compare some results. So let's see what we can do. Okay, well, I see a problem straight away. It doesn't spin. I wonder if I can... force the frog down a bit. It makes it a bit more like spin, I think. Wow. Okay, well, having now had a couple of casts with that frog buzzbait thing, I'm not overly confident. In fact, I've got about 0% confidence of catching anything on it. But I've only got about half an hour left, so I'm going to persevere. I'm going to go to a different spot where I've caught pike before. There tends to be a little bit of a concentration of them, just to try and drag something out of it. But I don't think, I mean, I would be amazed if I caught a fish on it. So let's do it. Let's have a last little push for 30 minutes and see if we can grind one out. Okay, we're in the last one of the day and I've got the frog monstrosity. I've made a couple of adaptations to it and actually it sort of swims how it should do now. So I've turned the hook upside down so the frog sits the right way, because all the weight is in the bottom, so it sits the right way up. And the blades, I don't know if you can see that, I've just twisted them out a little bit so there's a bit more aggressive, and they actually spin now, and I've had to sort of push the frog down onto the hook so there's room for the blade to spin, and it actually sort of does what it's meant to do now. So if I had 0% possibility of catching a fish before, I reckon I've got about a 0.7% now.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
So we've got about 15 minutes. We're gonna have a handful of casts and just see if we can get one. Okay, well that is the session done. Nice and early, got stuff to do today, so as per usual, lovely and short. Expensive versus cheap conclusions. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown of what I thought of each bait, and perhaps it's something you'd want to go and get yourself. So the True Send prop baity whopper plopper clone sort of thing, I actually really like this. There's a few points I want to make about it. Firstly, this system where the prop actually, I'm trying to do it with my thumb now, it actually clips back down. I'll try and get close up. It folds and then clicks into position on the bait, so when in storage it's lovely and flat. You don't get these fins flapping around all over the place. It's quite good. One thing I noticed is right early on in the day I had a little bit of a bad cast and it hit into a bridge. Now it's got a wire through the centre of the bait, which attaches the back treble. I actually bent that when it hit the bridge, and it meant the bait wasn't swimming right, and I couldn't work it out to start with. And when I worked it out, I just had to straighten that wire back out. So it's worth noting, if you get these, you do happen to smack into a bridge or a wall or whatever, just check that back wire, make sure it's true and sent, otherwise it won't spin right. Hooks seem pretty decent. They're not really cheap hooks. You probably could swap them out for something that you're a bit more confident in. Free baits for $18.99, and some nice colours, just sort of like orange belly, white, chartreuse back. I like that. Obviously I didn't use the other two today, but I think I showed a quick clip of them in the beginning of this video. So free baits for 18 quid that actually work. I think that's a pretty good deal. And do you know what? The finish is actually quite good. The paint is quite nice. I've caught a fish now, there's no chips out of it or anything. It seems like quite a decent bait, and I don't know if you hear that. It's got a knock in it as well. So as well as being a prop bait and creating a disturbance that way, it's actually got a knock inside as well. Okay, onto the cheap bait. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get some positive first. Positives are, it is weedless, unlike the true scent, so I could fish it over the top of pads and through sort of little bits of muck that would foul up the trebles and that and stop it from spinning. So you probably fish more casts from start to finish with this than you would do with the true scent. The blade actually, when I bent it a little bit, did spin. Didn't spin very fast or very well, but did spin. Do you know what, the more I think about it, I don't really know what the frog offers. It doesn't obviously look like a real frog. It doesn't sit right in the water, it doesn't move, the legs are pretty rigid. You probably would catch more if you took the frog off, because the frog tends to make it sit a bit funny. But yeah, so not many positives for that. I think the only thing it's good for is this. I will never use that ever again. But the true scent, on the other hand, they will now become part of my armoury, because I do like the idea of a prop bait, and having these three in different colours to cover different situations actually is pretty perfect for what I need. I'm going to look, see if they do smaller. If you can get one about sort of that sort of size, I think this is 16 centimetres, if you can get one about 10 or 12, it'll also be perfect for perch and chub. So yeah, that's the session done. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like these sort of things with the cheap versus expensive, maybe we can do rods or reels or whatever other lures. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.